with Mama Dares to DIY, and I really want to thank y'all for tuning in today. Whether it's your first visit to my channel or you're a returning subscriber, I want to say welcome, my friend. Today's video is technically a Christmas ornament video because I'm doing a collaboration with a fun group of YouTubers, and we are bringing you a Christmas collaboration. So technically, like I said, this is a Christmas ornament video, but my ornaments are versatile enough that you can leave them out all year round if you've got coastal decor in your home, or whether you just love coastal decor in general like I do. But I do live at the beach, so I do have coastal. Anyway, I'm going to show you how to make these beautiful glass floats that not only double as Christmas tree ornaments, they are also great to leave out all year round. And I actually have a cute little basket that I picked up from Amazon, and I keep these out all year round, just sitting in this little basket just for fun. It's really a great place to put fun stuff, whether you want to have a quick and easy access to your keys. I really do love this basket. It's very versatile. This basket is perfect for holding all of my ornaments, or you can put your keys or any other, doggy items that you want to have close and handy. So I do keep this on my my whole tree by my front door. But anyway, I'm going to give you 4 different ornaments today. So I'm going to show you 3 different variations of the glass floats, and then I'm also going to show you how to take the DollarTree snow globe and make into a lighted glass float ornament. This is beautiful enough, again, to leave sitting out all year round, and it's so easy and so fun to do. And I'm so excited to share this collaboration with you. So when you visit my friends' videos, be sure that you tell them Mama Dares to DIY sent you. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, hit that subscribe button down below and turn on all notifications so you do not miss any DIY that I have planned for Christmas. Trust me, there's so much fun stuff happening, you don't want to miss out. So enough talking, let's start DIYing and let's get started. Okay, y'all, so let's get started on this project, and I'm going to give you 3 different styles of colors that you can use for your glass floats, and I honestly can't make up my mind as to which one is my favorite, so that's why I'm going to show you 3 different varieties today. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to need is our ornaments, and these did come from the DollarTree. They've got the big ones and they've got the small ones, so I'm using both. You want to use one size, that's totally up to you, but we're going to start off with the small ones first. So we're just going to pop these off of their little hangers because we're not going to need those, but hang on to these because you never know when you might need them. So we're going to take our measuring cup, and you can mix this in any sort of dish that you want. If you've got a little ramekin or something, you can mix it in that as well. And we're just going to start off with some Mod Podge. We're just going to put our Mod Podge into our cup. And to this, I have taken my food coloring that I picked up from the DollarTree, and I've added in some of the green. I've added in a little bit of blue, and I've also added in a little bit of yellow. And I've just put the drops in here. It was roughly 5 drops of the blue, 3 drops of the green, and 3 drops of the yellow is what I used. And it did not quite get that aqua-y color that I was going for. So I did take just a little bit of Craft Mark paint in Robin's Egg Blue, and I added it into the mixture just so it would give it a little bit more of that turquoisey bluey color that I was going for. And I also added in a little bit of pearl, not a whole lot. I just wanted to give it just a little bit of shine. And this is just the Craft Mark paint in pearl. And I added a little bit of water to it just to thin this down for this first part. And you'll see why in just a moment. But it's very thin, and that's how I wanted it for this part. So this is the one that we're going to start off doing, and this is the glittered one. Y'all know how much I love me some glitter. And this one was the easiest one, which is why we're going to start off with it first. We're also going to need our glitter for this. Now, this will be really pretty with gold glitter, white glitter. This just happens to be the silver peacock, and I just love it. It's so beautiful, and it's so sparkly, and yeah, it goes perfect with my colors this year. Now I could also put in that rose gold color that I have going on in my decor, but I think for my floats, I want to keep those all in the blue family, turquoisey kind of blue. So I'm just going to take and put a little bit of this inside my ornament, and I'm just going to kind of swirl it around. You can put your thumb over it just to give it a good coat. Isn't that color pretty? Right now at the moment it looks very opaque, but once it dries it really becomes super translucent. So it looks super dark, and you'll see what I'm talking about when we do this one, but it looks super dark, but when it dries it gets really, really transparent. Okay, so we'll just pop that back into pour the excess back into our cup here. And now you want to take a piece of construction paper or just regular printer paper, and we want to put our glitter inside here. This is going to act like our funnel. So now we're just going to take it and funnel our glitter right over in here. And give it a good shake. You want to have it all coated. And I like to use this watered down mixture because I do want it to be sort of still translucent. Like I don't want it to be a heavy, heavy glitter. So that's why I like to use this watered down paint here. Okay, after you've given it a good shake, just pour the excess back in here, and you can reuse this. Okay, and seriously, that's it for this ornament. Wasn't that just almost too easy? Now, to wrap our twine around it, it takes a little bit of time, but it's not hard at all. It's super easy, and you can see the difference in these. Maybe the camera will pick it up. The difference between what it looks like dried and what it looks like when it's just wet. So, moving on to the next one, we're going to take our same colored mixture, and I'm going to pour it into just a smaller dish here. Just a small little ramekin dish. And I poured just a little bit in here. It's not going to take much because we do want more of an opaque look for this. I'm sorry, more of a translucent look for this. And then we're going to take our Mod Podge. And we're going to just pour some Mod Podge in here too. It's probably about 2/3 Mod Podge to 1/3 of our mixture. We're just going to stir that up really good. You do want this to be a little bit thick. And your Mod Podge is fairly thick. Okay, so now that we've got this all mixed up, we're going to take our other little bauble, like my UK friends, they call these baubles. So we're going to take our other bauble. It sounds a little bit more professional than ball or ornament. Okay, so let's just give this another little mix. And then we're just going to pour this right over in here. It's okay if you get it down the side. It doesn't really matter. We're going to be giving this a good swirl. We want to make sure it's all coated. Now, you can tell the difference in this one because it's a lot thicker. And again, this looks super opaque, but when it dries, it's going to be, whoops, it's going to be translucent. So this is what it looks like when it's wet, and this is what it looks like when it's dry. Now, this is just one coat on this one, but if you feel like you want it a little bit more opaque, then by all means, go ahead and put a second coat on here, but I'm kind of digging that super, super translucent look. Just a hint of color. Okay, so I'm actually going to just let this set for a second and just keep letting it coat. Before I pour it back in. Now, as this is drying, you want to keep it turned. So to let it dry, I just pulled out one of my mason jars that I had around, and I'm just going to turn it upside down and let it drain into the cup as it's drying. And as it's drying, you want to just kind of turn it to make sure that, you know, all of that gets coated and that you don't have more than one, you know, too much globbed up in one side or not. So this just kind of helps it to get evenly coated. And like I said, if you, this does take a pretty good amount of time to dry, but if you want to speed the process along, you can take a blow dryer and speed it up. But one thing I will tell you about the blow dryer is these little guys will melt. Trust me, I melted the top of this one. I learned the hard way. So if you do decide to use a blow dryer, it takes a long time to dry it with the blow dryer. I'm not even going to sit here and tell you it's quick because it's not. It does take a pretty good amount of time. So I'm just going to move this one to the side while we move on to the next one. Okay, for the next color, we're going to need our Mod Podge again. And I'm just mixing this up in an old glass that I've mixed up stuff in before. We're just going to pour our Mod Podge straight out of the container. And y'all, they do sell Mod Podge at DollarTree. So if you don't want to have to buy the big jug, you can definitely get the one from DollarTree. It comes in a little container like this. Okay, so for the next one, we're going to need our blue and our green food colors again. We're going to take, whoops. We're not going to throw our top in there, that's for sure. Whoopsie. Anyway, we're going to take 3 drops of blue. We're going to take 1 drop of green. We're just going to mix that up with our Mod Podge. And I know this looks really, really dark, and it is dark, but when it dries like this. So make sure you mix up enough. So again, we're going to just take our bauble, our ornament, and pull the top off. And honestly, the trick to doing this is to secure it in one of your little mason jars or any cup that it won't fall over. It really helps to keep yourself from chasing your ornaments everywhere. Okay, so I'm just going to pour this in here. Okay, so now we'll just take our ornament and just keep twirling it around until you get the whole thing. Okay, so now that my entire ornament is covered, I'm going to do just like I did the last one, and I'm going to take a mason jar and I'm just going to turn it upside down. And all of the excess is going to drain into the bottom here. I'm going to bring this one back over so you can see. See, it's draining. And I'll just keep kind of turning it so that it drains. Everything drains to about the same. So it's going to take a while, like I said, for these guys to dry. But that was it. All of these are done. And once they are dry, we're going to come back and I'm going to show you how to wrap your jute twine around it so we can make our pretty little glass floats. I just want to show you before these get too dry. I want to show you the difference side by side. So this is what our dark one looks like when it's dry. And this is what it looks like when it's wet. So it's a huge difference. So once it's dry, it looks totally different than it does when it's wet. So don't freak out if your ornament doesn't look like the one in the finished product, because I promise you it will get there. So just be patient. Okay, so these guys are about halfway through drying, but I wanted to point something out to you because I don't want you to freak out if this happens to you. So you can see how it looks kind of funky and weird. This is just all part of the drying stage, and this will all even out once it's dry. So if yours start to look a little uneven and kind of weird and gross, just be patient. Once they dry, I promise you, they're going to look just as beautiful as these do. So when these get through drying, we're going to be back. Just don't freak out if yours start to look funky. Okay, so this one is almost dry. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to wrap our jute cord around it so we can make our little floats. Normally I would turn this upside down in one of my mason jars, but my camera angle is a little bit so you can't see it. So I just grabbed a spray paint top, and that's totally okay to use. Or anything that your little ornament can set down in so it won't be wobbling all over the place. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and plug my glue gun up because I will need it just to get it started. But we're going to need our jute twine. Now, you do get jute twine at DollarTree. And for this one, I'm going to be using the one that comes in the 3-pack. And I think you get this over in like the automotive department, or you can get the other one that they have in the craft department. But this one seems like to be a better value for this. Okay. So we need to decide how many pieces do we want to go around our little float here. For this one, I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I used 6 pieces here. I used 6 for this one too. But you can use as many or as little as you want. It just depends on the look that you're going for. If you want a more woven, a tightly woven look, by all means, you know, fill it up. Actually, the bigger one I did use, I think I used 9 or 10 on the big one. So it's just up to you as to how, you know, how much jute you want on yours. So we're going to go ahead and stick with 6 because I do like the way that looks. So when we cut our cord, we want to make sure that it's long enough. That's the one thing that is super important about this part is your cord really needs to be long enough. So it's better to have too much than not enough. So you want to at least have roughly 4 times your diameter. So I'm going to cut 5 that is 4 times my diameter, and then the 6th one I need it to be just a little bit longer. That's going to be our anchor. Okay, so I've got 5 cut. Now this is going to be my 6th one, and I need it to be just a little bit longer. I'm going to make it maybe 1 more times over longer. So let me measure those real quick for you so you'll know exactly the measurements. Okay, so this is roughly 22 inches. So we need 122 inches, and we need 5 that are roughly 15 to 16 inches. So 5, 15 to 16 inches, and 1 that is 22 inches. So we want to take our 22-inch piece, and we want to lay it in half. So just fold it in half. And if you want to put just a little bit of tape down to hold it, you can. The jute cord does tend to be a little, you know, kind of wild. Kind of curls up like my hair on a humid day. So we'll just kind of tape it down so that it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so now we want to take our 5 pieces and want to fold those in half too. Okay. We're going to do these one at a time though. We're going to slip it underneath our long piece, underneath the bottom. We're just going to loop it through itself and pull it tight. Move this out of the way so you can see. Okay, so we'll do it again. We'll fold it in half, loop it through. So we've got our loop here. Then we'll just take the bottom, the tails, and loop it through itself. And we'll go back and space these out when we're done. One. This really is an easy project, but man, if you were to buy these in the store, they are crazy expensive. I do live at the beach, so I am putting, you know, coastal themed ornaments on my tree, but man, I just did not want to pay that price. Okay, so let's give these a good tug, just so that they're tight. And our glue gun should be hot by now. Okay, so let's take our tape off. And we want to push them sort of down to the end, but don't let your loop mess up. So you want to kind of keep them to the edge. And we're going to space them roughly. It's going to depend on how many you do. But we just want to kind of space them apart evenly. Okay, so now that I've got these all spaced evenly, we're going to take our end to our long piece, and then we've got our loop on our long piece. We're just going to thread that through. So this is going to make a circle. And this is how it's going to be put together, boys and girls. Told y'all this was easy. And then if you need to, go ahead and respace out your pieces. It is kind of important that they're kind of even, because if it's really, really off, it's going to show when you start tying your knots for your float. So do spend just a little bit of extra time to make sure that they are kind of spaced out evenly. Okay, so let's bring our little ornament back over. And if you look at the bottom of your ornament, you see the center. Like, that's the perfect gauge to know exactly where the center is. So we're going to put a little bit of hot glue on the bottom side of our little circle here. And put just a little bit of glue on our circle here. And we're going to use the center of our ornament as our guide to know exactly where the center is. We're just going to push it down. Now this is just going to help anchor everything down so that you're not chasing it all over the place, so it's not sliding. Okay, and we won't need the hot glue gun again until we're done. So you can just move that to the side. Okay, so let's take a look at our ornament. So we've got our 2 strings coming off of each one of our short pieces. And we're going to be sort of macrameing this. I know when I was little, my mom used to macrame with one of her friends. So I did know a little bit about macrame. And that's kind of what this is like. So you want to take your opposites. So not the piece that's tied together here. You want to take the 2 opposites. So you want to take the neighbor to the neighbor and tie those together. And I just tied in a little knot. You can tie it, you know, like this in a knot, but I just picked both of them up together and tie my knot like that. I think it's easier if you tie them both together. And just be sure to pull it tight. You want it to be pulled really tight. Okay, so we're going to repeat the process, going all the way around. And just take care to try to keep them about even. If it's not perfect, it doesn't really matter. But you do want them to kind of end up to be the same length. So just kind of get it about even and then pull it tight. So see, we've got 2 already. So let's just keep going all the way around, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so now I've gone all the way around, and you can look at the bottom, and it sort of looks like a pretty little flower. And then we've got our little loose pieces hanging down. Kind of looks like a little jellyfish. Okay, so now we're going to go and we're going to do the opposites again. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to take one from each section, and we're going to tie those together. So I'm going to take one from this flower petal and one from this flower petal, and I'm going to tie those together. So now we've gone all the way around again. You can see we are almost done. We're going to do one more layer with the last of our little pieces, and then we'll be ready to tie it off. So we're going to do the same thing. Okay, so now we've got our knots tied all the way up to the top. Isn't that cute? I love the way the bottom looks. The bottom is my favorite part. Okay, so now we've just got our little pieces left at the top here. And I'm just going to kind of give them a little twist. I'll put a little hot glue on it. Make sure you've got all of your pieces in there. And we'll just put just a little bit of hot glue, just so it doesn't go anywhere. Now, if you wanted to make your strings longer and just include your handle in your strings, you can totally do that. But I think it's just as easy to just attach it to this part. Okay, so now we're going to take a little bit more of our jute cord and decide how tall you want your hanger to be. This hanger is roughly 4 inches long, so I'm going to double it, so that's going to be 8. We're going to braid this one, so we're only going to need 3. So we'll cut 3. I'm just going to glue these together. Like I said, if you want to include this in the length of your pieces, you can totally do that. But I'm just going to hot glue this on here. And I'll push it down with the paint stick. My DollarTree is always out of the little silicone spatulas that one of my viewers suggested. And I keep forgetting to look at Walmart. But I use low temp, so. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead and braid our 3 pieces together. And I'm just doing a loose braid. You can, if you wanted to double it and have a really thick braid, you can. But I'm just doing just a loose braid. Okay, so now that we've got our braid all done, we'll just loop it over. And we'll put just a little bit of hot glue on that. And this puppy is almost done. Okay, so now we want to take a little bit of our jute cord and we want to wrap it around the bottom part here. Okay, now this one is done. Now I did go and add some embellishments to this one, and I'll show you what I used. So I picked up from the Dollar Tree. These were over in the party section, and they were really cute. And I thought, oh man, they would be really cute glittered. So all I did was put some Mod Podge on these and sprinkle them with my glitter. And I put a little hole in the top, and that's what I used to thread my piece through. And then I just finished it off with a few little pearls. But isn't that cute? But you can totally leave it just like this if you want to. Now you can see on this one, I did wrap the stem of this one a little bit thicker, and that's just a preference, you know, whichever way you like to do it. I kind of like to have them all different. I don't want them all to be the same. I kind of like them all different. So you just decide how you want yours to look. So yeah, that's this one. So as soon as these guys are through drying, we'll get those wrapped, and I'll come back and I'll show you how we embellish those. So stay tuned. So I've gone ahead and we're going to do this one next. So this one is a little bit simpler. I'm not going to add any embellishments to this, and I'm going to do the top a little bit, but we did go ahead and color it the same way, and we did the bottom just exactly the same way. However, I did cut my strings a little bit longer so that I can take these strings and make my loop with it. So, and it's better to cut them long and just trim off the excess if you need to. So I've gone ahead and tied the bottom part, and now I've just gathered all of my strings together, and I'm just going to sort of give it a little twist. I'm going to put just a little bit of hot glue there to hold my twist in place. And you can do all of yours the same way. They don't have to be different. I don't know. I just kind of like them to all be a little bit different, but that's just my personal preference. Okay, so we're going to keep twisting until we get to the end. And if you want to, you can put a little bit of water on here. That will help kind of hold your twist in place. If you want to just wet your little loops for. Okay, so now we're just going to take and sort of make a loop after we twist it, and we're just going to hold that in place. So now we want to take some more of our jute twine, and I'm using a lot of this because I do have a lot. I have a pretty large, oh, my cat just jumped up here. Get down. Hello. Can you get down? I don't think I need your help. Get down. Get down, bud. Get down. Sorry about that. Get down. Sorry. And he's still sitting up here. But anyway, this stem, I say stem, the hanger on this one is quite fat. So I want to kind of double up my string. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue on this right here, just so that it holds in place. These things are super light, so I mean, it's not like they weigh a ton, but, and I am using a low temp gun, y'all. I've been on the lookout for the little tip things too at my Dollar Tree, and I've not been able to find those. Maybe I should just order them off of Amazon. I'm going to put a little bit more hot glue here, and I'm just going to lay my twine over, and I'm just going to start wrapping. We're just going to wrap all the way around. I am going to actually cover the top where our hanger was, just because I kind of like the way that that looks. And that's it. Now we'll put a little hot glue in the back here to hold it down. And then this one is done. This is the first one we made. It's glittered. It has a little bit of embellishment on it. I'm totally digging the little glittered crab on the front. And then this is the second one. Now these are the same size baubles, the same size ornaments, but two completely different looks here. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the large one, and we're going to cover it the exact same way that we did the smaller ones, only this time we're going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're going to have 10 of our little pieces here, and make sure that you cut your pieces large enough or long enough to go all the way around. And we're going to do this one the same way that we did the others. And when we get ready to make the stem, I just did a super long stem for this one, and I just used a single cord to attach it. So it's going to be the same process as this one, but instead of braiding the cord, I just use a single hanger here. So we won't go into that because it's pretty much the same way that these are. And then I took some seashells that I had on hand because y'all know I live at the beach, and I just tied a little bit of jute cord through it, and yeah, just attached it to it. Now, I do like to pick up seashells that have holes already in them as I'm walking the beach, and this is a great reason to do that. You can also find seashells at the Dollar Tree if you don't live at the beach like I do, or you know, you could always order them online at Amazon, and I'll find a link below, and I'll put that down in the description box. I've got balls flying everywhere. So now I'm going to take one of the snow globes. So I picked up one of the snow globes, and I've gone ahead and I've colored the inside just like I did our other ornaments. But I'm going to do something a little bit different with this one. I'm going to actually take and put a tea light in this, and we're going to make this light up. So we're going to have a lighted glass float, and I think that's going to be fun too. Okay, so let's mark our hole for our tea light. So I'm just going to kind of find the center, and I'll mark it with my Sharpie. And I do want it to be sort of tight, so I'm going to cut probably just on the inside of that line. There we go. So the cool thing about doing it this way is you won't be able to see your tea light from the bottom. But when it cuts on, it'll be easy to cut off and on just like this. So let's see what this is going to look like. Yay, so cute. Okay, so now we're going to cover our bottom the exact same way that we did these with our jute twine. Let me cut this off. So now that that is done, we're going to just kind of move it out of the way. Okay, so we're going to take some more jute twine. And this time, instead of doing the bottom super tight like this, I want my bottom piece to be a little bit longer because I want to start around this rim right here. And then I'm actually just going to take some thick rope and cover up this part. So we want to make sure that our anchor piece is a lot longer. So you want to over exaggerate for that one. So if you want to roughly measure around this, then you want to go all the way over, and then I'm going to double this just to be sure. I want to make sure to have more than enough. And then I think I'm going to do, I did 10, and I kind of like the way that that looks, and this is about the same size as that. So I'm going to cut 9 pieces that are roughly 3 times the size of my globe. Okay, I've got all 9 of my pieces tied onto my anchor now. Now we'll take the tape off. And we want to push our pieces to the end just a little bit. We'll spread them out once we get them actually anchored on, but you want to make sure they're kind of at the end. So now we'll take our anchor end and put that through the anchor loop, just like we did in the last part. And now we can sort of move these down so we can start spacing them out. So if you want to go ahead and put that over your ornament, you can. Okay, so this is our anchor loop here, and I'm going to go ahead and put just a little drop of hot glue here to secure that before I start spacing it out, because I think it'll help it to keep it from sliding around. And let me show y'all where we're doing this at. You want your jute cord not on the lip that's threaded. You want it on the underside of that lip. So can you see that? This is the threaded part, and this is the underside of it. You want to put it on the underside of that. Okay, so now let's put a little bit of glue. Don't make it too tight because you want to be able to move your other pieces. Okay, so now we'll just space out our pieces. And this is kind of important. Like, you do want them to be similar, just like the last one. Okay, so you can kind of look and see how this is taking shape. And we're going to use the same tying method as we did with the others. So I won't bore you with that. I will fast forward through that. And then once I'm done tying, we'll come back and we'll finish it off. So now that we've got it all tied up, I have only done about 2/3 of the way up. I'm not going all the way to the top, but you totally can if you want to, but I kind of like the way that this looks. I like the way it makes this pretty pattern here. So we'll finish it off by just I'm going to take a little piece of twine, and I'm just going to tie a little knot there just to secure those in place. So I'll tie these up. Okay, so this is tight, so I'm going to go ahead and tie it in a knot. Don't you think that pattern on the top looks nice? I really like it. I think it's pretty. It kind of makes a little flower at the top. So I'll cut these excess. So I think I just want to braid the top, but I want to use a big braid. And if you want to, you can count out all of your pieces so that they're all the same, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it so that they're about the same. And then we'll just braid. I like the way that this fat braid looks, and I think it's going to look really pretty with the rope that we're going to use on the bottom. And you know what? I kind of like the way that looks all frayed at the end, don't you? I think that's kind of groovy. So maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll just take another small piece of cord and I'll just tie a knot in that. I'm really kind of digging that frayed look. I'm not going to be hanging this one on my tree. I'm just going to kind of set it around the house. But if you decide you want to hang it on your tree, you can totally put a loop on it. So I'm just tying a little knot here. To secure that end. I kind of like that. I love how things just kind of evolve. I don't try to go in with a crazy hard plan. I just kind of let my imagination take over and kind of go from there. And we'll kind of pull out some of our braid here so it doesn't look all perfect. I really like how that looks. Looks like a little ponytail on top. Okay, so now we're ready to finish off our edge. And to do that, I'm just going to be taking some rope that I picked up from DollarTree. I'm just going to put it around this edge here. I'll use some hot glue to secure it. And I may add in some shell embellishments like I did on the big one here. But other than that, this is done. This was a really quick project too. Okay, so now I've got a little bit of my jute cord left over. And when I walk the beach, I'm always picking up shells that have holes in them or just kind of fun shells. Even if they're broken, if they're pretty, then I pick them up. I don't think that you should overlook a pretty shell just because it's broken. So I think I want to add a few of these pretty shells in there just to hang down, just like I did this one over here, because I think that's pretty. And because they already have the hole cut in them, all I've got to do is to string my jute cord through it. Okay, let's go ahead and put our light in it so we can see what it looks like now. Oh, isn't that pretty? I love it so much. I've given you lots of options to create your glass floats here. And like I said, you can use these for Christmas or you can leave them out all year long if you've got coastal decor in your house. But I really love the way that they look. And I think the addition of the shells is a great touch. But I also love the fun that the glitter brings too. And it's totally okay to mix in all these different elements in your decorating. It doesn't all have to be the same. I really like to have different things. But y'all, that's so pretty. I can't wait to get these hung up and put on my Christmas tree. I think I'm going to put some where they're all three together. And then some I'm just going to hang individual. And I may even put some on my wreath that's going to be on my front door. So be sure to stay tuned for those videos. And y'all, that does it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up because that would mean the world to me. And until next time, happy DIYing, y'all. I just love the way that these all look when they're strung up together on your Christmas tree. But let me show you what it looks like when it's by itself. Or when it's by itself. I just think it's such a beautiful and fun and coastal touch for my tree. And I could not be happier.